So to everyone about to jump on or that will watch later, hello, hello. The Brandy Johnson here with this installment of Woke Wednesday Live, and I have a special guest this evening, my wonderful, beautiful cousin. Her name is Celeste, also known as Sassy Celeste on YouTube, and she's just a wonderful individual. And we wanted to have a conversation this evening because I love her and I want to hear her share her insight. She's very knowledgeable. So, how are you, my love? I can't hear you.
Let's go the other route. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good, good.
That just means
Hi, thank you so
your
much.
mic's broken.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, as long as you can hear me, thanks so much for having me on your live. I try to catch your lives as often as possible because they're really good and insightful, and I feel like they're self-building. They take you to another level if you allow yourself to go there, and I'm happy to be here, so thank you.
Of course, of course. Thank you for joining me, of course. But
hmm
what is our topic this evening?
I chose to talk about colorism. Colorism. The reason I chose this topic is because I watch Basketball Wives. I don't know how many people do. It's one of my guilty pleasures, but I watch it. And this season, there has been a lot of extreme, blatant racism towards the only dark-skinned sister on there who has African phenotype. She looks like she's from Nigeria, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And her features are that of a Nigerian woman, and they treat her differently than they do everyone else. And what I mean is there's other darker skinned females who are on the cast, but they're Americanized. They have, long fake hair. They, like many of us, have watered down features. Many of us from America are mixed with something else, and therefore we do not share the same features as somebody who is from any part of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly, I mean, we're the watered down portion. And we in this country always have held the European standard of beauty at the highest, meaning that the darker you are or the more broad your features are, the less attractive you seem to be to those here in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And it burns me up. It burns me up because I used to not see it. I used to not be aware that dark skin, especially dark skinned women, okay? Dark
Mm-hmm.
skinned men, they could be the cream of the crop. They could be the one all the women are going for who aren't black out here. But it's like the dark skinned women always get the brunt. They always get the brunt of it all, basically. It just infuriated me. I don't even know do you watch this? Are you aware of this? Because it's been all over online.
I do not watch this, but the reason why I'm excited about this topic too is because we are originally from Colorado. My cousin still lives in Colorado. But being from Colorado, black is black. We don't care about skin tone, blah, 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 blah. We are all one. This is why our family, if you ever see pictures of like all of our family ever, like we are very diverse as a family. We have everything from straight up white to Korean to I think we got some Vietnamese in there. We definitely got some Spanish in there. We got some Native American in there. And our complexions are all over the place. And then
Yep.
being used to that and then moving out to the South basically, um, I became aware that like out here is different. Like they'll talk about each other being light skinned or dark skinned. I'm like, we're all beautiful. What's the matter?
Mhm. You would
So,
think so, but it's not like
but
that with a lot of people.
yeah, but this is a crazy thing. I learned sort of the origin of it in learning about the Willie Lynch letter.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard of this?
Okay. Yes, I have.
So it's crazy because if you've never heard of this letter, excuse me, this letter, look it up. It'll put a whole bunch of things in perspective and you'll be like,
Play my favorite
huh,
game.
because he literally states in the letter that this will last for hundreds of years, if not beyond. And all it is, essentially, it was an operating system. What the system that Willie Lynch brought to the South to basically keep handle of the slaves was an operating system. You pit this one against this one, young against old, dark against light, um, inside and outside, and so on and so forth. And it seems that he was correct. And keyword was, because we're getting to a point now that not only are we starting to get along better as a people, but we're starting to get along better as a whole as far as humanity goes. We still have the knuckleheads and the ones that you just wish you could beat upside the head, but we're not going to give too much
Mm,
energy to those people. They're outnumbered.
no. Hmm. That's right. That's a good way to look at it. It is. Um,
So, did you have this insight? I know it was, for me, it was recent. The last 8 years is when I became more aware of these kinds of things, because I've always just seen people as people. I don't care about like your ethnicity or anything like that. I've had to become more aware of it living in the South. But again, you take it as for what it is. Or do you encounter these things yourself though?
myself, no. I mean, little comments from different people like, "You're not that black." Um, what what do you mix with, this type of thing. It's nothing personally aimed at me on a regular basis. It's just what I observe with those that are around me. And I don't know, it just seems like if there is a group of people who should accept all of their members, because we have a whole lot of members in a whole lot of different beautiful shades, and if we as a people can accept them all, who the hell else is going to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
um in this day and age, it is so cool to be black. It's the coolest thing on the planet. Everybody wants, the culture, just the culture itself. Black people make it. They set the art behind it with the fashion, with the hair, with the music, all of it. That's us. We're the pulse of that. We do that, and everyone wants to, follow after us with that, and that's a big compliment. You know what I'm saying? Um, I just feel like if you're that accepting to those things from our black culture, why couldn't everyone as a whole be that accepting to us as a whole, as black people, period? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Um, I don't know, just, and I read about it too because I'm a constant reader. So, like in Gabrielle Union, she wrote a book called "We're Gonna Need More Wine," and that is an excellent book, I gotta say.
I listened to that audiobook and you are absolutely,
Yes,
oh my gosh, I love that
it
book.
was so
Her and
good.
Kiki Palmer's book.
Yes. And she did good because she is the one who reads it to you. And
Hmm.
she's, sometimes you get an audible book and the person who's reading it could make it or break it immediately for you. And she did a phenomenal job. Every woman of color needs to read that book, because she does talk a little bit about colorism in there. And another book that I read that was really good, it's called No, You Can't Touch My Hair. And the author's name is Phoebe Robinson. And what they have a skit. She's a comedian. Anyway, she talks about some colorism issues in there as well. And I don't know, I guess from time to time you just have to come together with these different topics, to notice as a whole and listen to what other people are saying about it and how it's affecting them, and learn a little from it, because we all tend to live in our own little bubble. What I deal with every day, what I come across, instead of looking at what somebody else is going through and try to wrap your mind and maybe a little bit of your heart around their fight and their struggle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly. And is the interesting thing is I've been observing like just my life in general and how I've always been drawn to the people that have been like underestimated or overlooked. And in realizing that about myself, I realized I want to help my sister queens. And when I say sister queens, I mean all shades, all ethnicities, those of us that come from the bottom. Because you got people to talk to, the people that have money or the people that have a little bit of resources to be able to afford different coaching, training, whatever it might be.
mhm.
But if you know, like I know, even some of our family come from the ghetto. Okay.
Uh-huh.
We know the folks from the barrios. We know the people from the trailer parks. We know the people from, excuse me, pretty much all of Colorado, not all of Colorado, all of Pueblo, Colorado has become a huge ghetto as far from different reports from friends that I still have out there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, why is it that we overlook those people when they're the ones that need the most help?
Hmm.
It's not that they can't learn, it's that nobody bothers to try and share different things with them.
That's true. That is
So what
true.
does that have to do? How does that tie into the colorism thing?
Classism. Classism.
Mm,
Um, that's gonna be a huge thing. Heck, it already is. Like I try not to pay too much attention to politics because they get on my damn nerves. But with that
word.
fool in the White House, we have no choice but to pay attention because what he's doing is affecting us daily. Everything he does affects us. And what he has created, which was already there, but he's put more of his time, effort, and energy into more of his power into it. And that's
Hmm.
classism. So basically, those who are at the top, that 1%, the ones who make the most money, that's the top of it. And everything else is a trickle down process. And the less money you have, the less value you have to those people in those positions in their eyes. Not all of them, not all, but a good amount of them.
Majority. Yeah,
Yep.
more than a fair share. And I absolutely, positively agree with that. And this is another reason why I've redirected myself because when you do what you're called to do, the money's there. When you do right
Mhm.
by people, you figure out ways to make money doing other things. My passion is to truly lift up those that just need somebody to take a chance on them and give them the right information to do better. And I
Mhm.
absolutely love Maya Angelou's quote, when you know better, you do better.
Amen.
And
Yep.
so I want to help more of our sister queens do better. I want to help them know better so they can do better.
Mhm.
And that's why I was excited to have you on because we are of the same mind as far as that kind of stuff goes.
Yeah. I know
We
we
don't just
are.
overlook people.
I'm like, we
It's
come
so
from good
crazy.
stock. We do.
Yeah,
Shoot.
yeah, we do. We've
Mhm.
come from some craziness, but we've also come through all of that with very strong principles, high levels of
Mhm.
integrity, and we don't take nonsense off of people. I found myself in a place that basically I was people's punching bag for a long time. I didn't even realize that I was doing that.
I think
But
it takes a little while as you get a little older to get a more broad view of how you're being treated by people, you know?
absolutely. And so in working through that, I've also learned how to help other people work through that. Because a
Mhm.
lot of us, in Black families in particular, it probably occurs in other families, but I'm speaking from my own experience with our family. We were often in a position that like we were taught to help people and to love family no matter what, but we were never taught that it's okay to have self-respect and put boundaries up with people that want to take advantage of you. We
Uh-huh.
had to learn that ourselves.
Exactly. Yep. That bleeding heart, the bleeding heart, the big wide open bleeding heart that's so huge that it could be to your detriment. There's not a positive pause there to stop and look around and make sure, am I the only one giving here?
Hmm.
I've definitely come across that, especially with in relationships with men. Definitely. I had to step back and look like, why am I the only one carrying this big load? I'm like, it just, I don't know. You just learn different things as you go, I guess. But I believe that a lot of the reason that we are who we are today and standing in our beliefs with this conversation right here, it it goes back to your foundation,
Hmm.
how you were raised, what you were brought up with, what God was given to you, what values, all that stuff that makes us who we are. I'm like, it does come back to that. Everything in your life that you're going to go through is always going to come back. You're going to come back to the middle, to the starting point. I don't know how else to put that. Just your stomping ground. Whether
Hmm.
it's mentally or emotionally, you will get back there. And that's when you start to become the best version of yourself and grow to be the best you want for yourself. I don't know how to put that.
Yeah, because we all come
Ladies
up.
getting all dark. Can you see me anymore? Ah,
I can
can you
see
see
you
me?
now.
Okay. All right.
You
I'm
might
just
want
trying.
to, if you got some light, go ahead and shine it, but I'm
Okay.
good.
Let's see. I'm turning the light on you. Is that
It's a
okay?
little bit better. It's a little bit better.
Okay.
We see the
I'm
frames,
in the
we see the
car.
beautiful lips.
Okay. I'm like, I'm in the car. Shoot.
But that's the fascinating thing about our family. There was a point in time that I used to resent some of the things that we grew up with.
Yep.
But looking back now, it's like the things that used to get on my nerves, the things that we had to tolerate and deal with at points and times in our family, it's like it's no big deal now because one, I've come to understand, and it's very true, as far as I go, as far as many people go. Once you hit that 18 to 21 age, it's time to start taking
Uh-huh.
accountability for unscrewing yourself up if you came up in a screwed up family.
Exactly. Yep. As soon as you hit those adult years, whatever you experienced as a child, it's your responsibility to notice it, to acknowledge it, to do something about it. If you're screwed up from something in your childhood, go get mental help. And that's another thing Black folks don't seem to do as often as they need to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In my early 20s, I went through therapy. I went by myself with my insurance. I went and did my whole thing because I went through things as a child that screwed me up. And as an adult, once I realized it, it's no longer anybody else's responsibility. It's my
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to see what I went through, go through the therapy to get better and grow from it, and also teach myself how to protect my children from going through the same things that I had to that screwed me up along the way. Now, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
perfect. I do screw up,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But my mistakes seem to be different from those that I experienced as a child. So, I don't know. You're
True.
responsible for your own mental health and your own growth once you're an adult.
Absolutely.
Period.
And we also need to take the stigma, like the awesome thing is a majority of the problems that or a majority of the things that we need to work through, if you have an unbiased ear with any type of ability to put things into an objective point of view rather than
Hmm.
a emotional point of view to help people work through it. If you
Uh-huh.
absolutely refuse to go see a mental specialist, which you absolutely shouldn't, but if for some reason you do, there are still people out here that can help you work through those issues. Because as Black people, we inherently, through whether it's directly or indirectly, are the recipients of passed down trauma.
Hmm.
But
Yes, yeah.
it's in knowing that we're able to work our way through it. You first have to admit that there is a problem in order to fix it. What a lot of the older generation does is bad things happen and then they pretend it didn't happen. And the same person or people that perpetrated it are left to do it again to the next younger generation. We got to
Exactly.
stop being like that.
Breaking the cycle. Breaking it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why I see myself as a leader in female empowerment with a focus on disrupting destructive cycles.
Hmm.
I've seen some of the things that happen in our family, and I'm like, it stops here. It stops with me.
Uh-huh.
And you've
Yeah.
done the same thing. And my cousins,
Mhm.
Denzel and Zuri, oh my gosh, you have done such a phenomenal job with them. I don't think you understand how very proud I am of you as a single mother bringing up two soon to be very amazing men.
Thank you. I'm like, thank you so much. They blow my mind, but that's them. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they just,
But you laid the
it's real.
foundation. I'm still,
I
my
know.
mind is still blown that
But
I
I
used to
had
wipe their
help
butt.
too. I had some help, and I do recall you being there quite a bit, babysitting. I do recall. I'm like, I definitely had help from my family. I did a lot of help from my family that I will forever be grateful for. Um, but I believe that some people, and I thought I would be one of these. I thought I would have a kid and want to make them just like me. I'd want to make them see everything like I do, and have the same view. If you have this conversation with Celeste, you could have the exact same conversation with Denzel 30 minutes later, and he's giving you all the same stuff. And then I realized that they're different. They're very different from me. And all I can do is give them an open canvas to allow them to go ahead and do whatever the heck they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Be supportive with it. And it's challenging because as a mom, you just want to love, love, love. And as a single mom, you have to learn how to put your foot in the ass sometimes. So it's a balance between the two of giving them love, 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 but then also no, you're not going to do this. I'm not going to take that. So
Hmm.
it was a balancing act, and I didn't pass every test, but I got it down. I got it down. I got my Denzel little college grad still working on the bachelor's, and Zuri's work. I'm like, they're doing their thing. They're coming along, and I'm proud of them. So thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, we originally started this live talking about colorism, and it's just turned into a little bit of everything. But that's what I love about doing these lives, especially with guests and especially with a member of my family. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But
Yep.
like it's like when you talk about these things and how you should deal with certain people and whatnot, and you're able to see how like cousins like us can come together and like have an open conversation about things that actually matter, because there's so many conversations on low level bull crap that doesn't really matter. And you're so focused on the low level stuff that the big crazy things that need attention are going left unchecked. And that's how we
Yes.
end up in the current political climate we find ourselves in. I believe that things are going to correct themselves soon enough. And honestly, though it seems crazy to say so, I think this country needed exactly what has gone on, because we needed a check. A lot of people thought we had moved past a lot of this stuff, and no, it just went dormant. But those of us that know better knew it. It's just like when that college
Hmm.
scandal broke, how they were basically paying for a degree, and the only thing the kid had to do was stay on campus for a certain amount of time. Now, that's been going on for eons as far as we're concerned. But when that kind of stuff comes to the
Yeah.
public eye, then it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I was like, well, how do you think we get certain people in high positions like we do?
Yep. That's
Common
exactly
sense to
right.
tell you, there
I'm
ain't no
like,
way that man passed the test.
this is true. It's social media. It's social media is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with all these cops shooting all these unarmed black men. That's always been going on. It has been. Um, it just wasn't as visible, as
Mm-hmm.
readily visible, available for you to see as it is right now. And
Mm-hmm.
because it is right now, you got to be out your mind to think that it's not happening. There's
Yeah.
incident after incident after incident. And heck, that woman in Texas just got killed in her home over the weekend from a cop outside her house. I'm like,
Yeah,
girl, I am done. Okay.
right? But this is the thing. I've been asked on different occasions, like, why don't you talk about these things? Why don't you talk about these things? I observe them and I understand that I'm not in a position to do anything about it yet. I take it down. If there's something that I can do to participate in order to help curb these things, I am absolutely going to do that. But
Uh-huh.
in the meantime, until those things come to a head in a way that change can be had, because we march, we rally all the time, and then we go right back to life before it happened as if it didn't happen. And the
This is
ones
true.
left picking up the pieces are the families and the close friends of the people that we keep losing. So I see what's going on, but I stay focused on building my sisters up the same way that
Mhm.
others that I'm partnered with um, William Hollis, and he motivates the masses. But when I hear him speak, it's like listening to the voice of an entire generation when he speaks. And that's why I'm so very excited to be partnered with him, because that's the kind of impact that I want to have on behalf of my sister queens out here, of all backgrounds and ethnicities. But I also, because I am according to our country and the way the world sees things, I am a Black woman and I am a proud Black woman. And I know
Mhm.
that because of that, my sisters are always going to have a bigger piece of my heart than others. Not to say I don't love everybody, but we all have the people that grab our attention the most.
Uh-huh.
And I have absolutely no problem with that. Um, but I see what's going on, and I'm not ignoring it. I'm just
Mhm.
awaiting the time and opportunity to step in and have a meaningful impact on it all.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it is
it's
hard.
frustrating.
It's
It's
very
frustrating.
frustrating. It's very hard.
Yeah.
And at times I feel like I feel almost numb to it sometimes because
It's scary.
the alternative is rage.
Mhm.
And I don't do rage. And the reason why I don't do rage is because unless you are able to properly focus it, it's a negative energy. And negative energy slows things down. You want to be able to flow. You want to be able to be open-minded and continue to grow within your mental capabilities into the person that you need to be in order to take on leadership roles and address these things properly. Our leadership is flawed at this time, but it's getting better. And we have to acknowledge that
Mhm.
it is getting better and stop allowing the media to distract us and say, well, this is bad and that's bad. Climate change, Trump did this, another shooting here, another this, another that. And ignore the fact that when one person perpetrates these things, it's mental illness. And if another person perpetrates these things, it's terrorism. I'm not
Mhm.
blind.
Uh-huh.
I just remain observant and I remain open to finding the solutions rather than focusing on the problems.
But see, that's another reason, like we were discussing earlier about Black people needing to seek the mental help that they need to get. A lot of these people, the white shooters, the lone wolf, whatever they want to call them, the homegrown terrorists, um, they've been to the psychiatrist, they've been to the therapist, they've been um, diagnosed with different mental illnesses, and that's why they're able to put this label on this person. Whereas a Black person who's may have gone through the exact same traumas, even worse when they were younger, but never sought mental help, there's no documentation, there's no diagnosis of their mental health to put him
Mm-hmm.
in that class. Not that it helps anything, I don't think. I really don't. I mean, getting the mental help, yes, that is helpful. But when we're down to the point where there's some kind of shooting that's gone on and that's how they're trying to label you to make it okay or not okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it really don't doesn't make a difference to me. But the mental help is needed irregardless. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully,
Absolutely.
if you get it like you need it and you work it like you should, you don't end up in them situations where there's a shooting going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. And especially
that would be
shooting
ideal.
each other while we're at it.
Okay, because
But
we
that's
got
a
a
different
problem
topic
there.
for another time. And this is why I'm so
Uh,
excited to have you on because this will not be the last time that
mm-mm.
folks get to see you. This will not be the last time that people that jump on these live videos and participate in these conversations. Like normally, I'm a happy-go-lucky, bubbly. This is what I learned. Here's how I think you could apply it to your life. But I want to talk about the real issues too, without pointing fingers, without saying it's their fault, it's their fault. I want to speak about the issue and focus on solutions rather than the problem itself. Focus on
Mhm.
what led up to it and how we can do it differently.
Yeah.
So, wow.
You could be on this
Absolutely
thing
love
all
this.
night. Shoot, we
Yeah, we,
could.
we could, but we gotta
Hmm.
save some for next time. But I'm
Yes.
definitely, if you're down, cuz I would definitely love to have you at least once every 3 months, if not once a month. This all just depends on your schedule and what you want to do. But
Yes.
yeah, and I definitely
I
want
love
you
it.
on, I want you on the For the Love of Queens podcast as well. So
Uh-huh.
as
Okay.
if you guys haven't checked it out yet, For the Love of Queens podcast, we will be releasing episode 4 on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And
Okay.
until the turn of the year, we're going to be doing bi-weekly episodes. So that's why you've been seeing it be released every couple of weeks here. Come turn of the
Mhm.
year, I'm going to push for weekly, but because there are several things in the works right now, I can't make guarantees on that, but I will keep up with the bi-weekly release and keep you guys more informed as to when they're going to be released. And Cuzzo, thank you so much for jumping on this evening. I hope everyone enjoyed my beautiful cousin, and I definitely want your
Yeah.
feedback. We want your
Thank you
feedback.
guys.
Lights!
I turned the light on.
But we definitely
Man,
want you
this was
guys'
good though.
feedback. What kind of topics do you guys want to hear us speak about in regards to things that we've experienced personally and have conquered? Because we seem very well adjusted, like we haven't been through things. But y'all, I've been through a DC sibling, as well as several other things. My cousin has been through a lot. I'm not going to share her story. She'll share her background if she chooses to at a later time. But just believe that through all the stuff that we've experienced and come through, we still managed to be strong, empowered, beautiful women that are out here for all of our sister queens. And
That's
yeah,
right. Yes. Mhm.
yes.
You're
But
absolutely right. Yeah.
thank you all for joining
Okay.
us this evening. And I look forward to seeing you guys again for next Woke Wednesday Live next Wednesday. And cousin, stay in touch. You
Yeah.
let me know when you want to come on again, okay?
I will definitely. I'm about it anytime you are. I'm ready. Okay.
And follow
All
Sassy
right.
Celeste on YouTube. I want you to make sure you drop your send me your link to your YouTube page, so I'll drop it in the comments a little bit later.
Okay. I will. I
All
will.
right.
I'm
Night,
glad.
everyone.
Mwah. I love you, cousin. I love you.
Love you more.
All right.
Bye.